Are you looking to level up GarageBand for free? Well, I have something for you. Welcome back to the Band Guide, where we use GarageBand to create professional sounding music. I'm your band guy, Colin, and today I want to talk to you about the plugin developer Analog Obsession. I've been hearing about this plugin company for a while now because they create incredible sounding analog style plugins. But what I didn't realize until recently is that all of their plugins are truly free, and not free the way some plugin companies are, where they have a limited version of a plugin but you can pay for the full version, or they have one free plugin but you have to pay if you want any of their other plugins. Literally all of the plugins this company makes are completely free. You go download them right now. So shout out to Caleb for cueing me in on the fact that they're actually free. And I'm really excited to share these with you because they help fill some gaps in GarageBand so that even if you're a beginner, you can get more out of GarageBand. And if you're really advanced, there's a lot of cool stuff in there for you too. Let's check them out. So if you go to analogobsession.com, this is what you'll see. All plugins are free on Patreon. So let's click onto his Patreon. Now, this is where I got held up the first time. I saw this and I thought, oh, okay, so they're all free if I pledge to support month by month. But that is actually not the case. If you just scroll down and look at one of his posts here, he's got a post here that has this special FET style compressor. Click continue reading. He has the download links right here. So you can download the Mac, download links, install it, and you'll have inside GarageBand in seconds, completely free. That is this model. And let's just take a second to talk about that model because I think it's kind of amazing. The whole idea here is that get access to this, try it out. If you love it and you can't afford to support me, please do. But if not, no worries, please use it, go make music. This is gonna be great, it's gonna be helpful to you. That's his whole goal first. But to be able to continue that, he has to have some support to be able to continue. So if you can pledge, if you think they're worth it to you, you like using them, you think that they have value, pledge. Try them out first, see what you think. And even if you can't pledge right now, maybe down the road, once you've been using them for a while, and maybe you can pledge, you're not going to miss $5 a month or $10 a month. That's really going to help this guy continue to do this. And it takes work to continue to update plugins. Making them once is one thing, but continue to update them and improve them and keeping them working with Big Sur, and they just announced another new one. This is going to help him continue to be able to do that so that you can use it now, but you can also use it next year and the year after that and in the future beyond that. So this is important to support people that do this. But what I love is right now, you can go download it. I can start teaching you to use it and you can start using it and get a better mix right now for free. Awesome. Okay, let's take a look at some plugins. Now, first of all, there are a lot of plugins here, and I would strongly discourage you from just going and downloading all of them. You will be completely overwhelmed, and you'll end up with a paralysis of choice. You'll just have too many options. You'll end up not using any of them because you don't know what they are and why you would use them and how to use them. I would much rather you just download one, maybe two, maybe three of these plugins and get really familiar with them. Commit to using them, and as you get familiar with them, you'll better understand them, and you'll better understand what other plugins you might want to download that would be complementary. And two, you can let me know what plugins you download in the comments below, and then if I see a lot of people talking about the same plugins, I'll do videos on those plugins so that you can better understand them. I'll explain all the knobs, what sources they're good on, what sources they might not be as good on, and this other plugin might be better. Then you'll really understand what you're using. It's better to not overwhelm ourselves with just a billion tools. It's always better to understand the tools that we have than it is to just have more tools. So a little bit of a caveat up top. Now, what is analog? Why do you care? What is this? So analog emulation plugins are plugins that are emulating analog style hardware that you would find in a professional studio, in a real studio. So a physical piece of gear that you would find in a studio being emulated inside GarageBand to bring out that same kind of tone, that same kind of character that you've heard thousands of times on your favorite records. And this is incredible because you can get these now completely free inside GarageBand. So for example, this is a FET style compressor, which is a 1176 compressor, if you've heard of that. Doesn't necessarily matter except to know that it has a certain tone. It's particularly good on drums, pretty good on vocals, really good on vocals. Kind of has a bit of an aggressive sound to it, a bit of a bite to it is how people like to describe it. And you get that tone just by using this compressor over a different compressor, for example. But I will caution you to say, ultimately, better understanding how to use compression is first and foremost the goal. Now, what I like about this compressor is that it gives you a little bit more visual information than you have with the stock compressor inside GarageBand. All of the compressors that you can download from Analog Obsession do. So really great right off the bat. We'll probably have a video coming up on that really soon. something to be aware of. So this is a great option, a FET style compressor. We have a Spee style compressor. So this is an Ssl style compressor, which is a really famous mixing console. You can just kind of get that Ssl style compression tone in your mix. These are really transparent, really, really clean sounding compressors. We got a vintage EQ. This is a pretty cool looking guy. Now we got some tube preamps and a Verimue compressor with a really great name. But these two preamps here, so what are preamps? Well, preamps are a piece of gear that you would typically have between your mic and your interface. So in professional studios, they have mic that hits a specific preamp. Now you have built-in preamps in your interface, but those preamps are really, really crystal clean. And that's totally fine. That's great. That's actually the most flexible. When you're starting out, that means you have all the options to color it any way that you want. In a pro studio, they'll save the time from coloring it after the fact by just adding coloration, saturation on the way in. So they'll record a mic into a preamp into their interface, into their computer. Whereas you're just going mic into a built-in preamp that's totally clean in your interface, in your computer. So what you can do now is use this preamp to kind of add a little bit of that tone like you would get in a pro studio into your session. If you're just starting out, don't worry about this. This is not a make or break thing, and it can really overcomplicate, add a whole step that you don't have to do. But if you've been mixing for a while and you have a good grasp on the basics of mixing, this could be a really cool way to kind of just level up your mixes very easily. You just kind of set them and forget them. So they have a really cool tube preamp, a couple models of that. They have this Verimue compressor. These are all going to add a little bit of warmth to your sound. They have an Ssl Style EQ. This is a really cool vintage style EQ. This thing sounds awesome. It has a very surgical but specific sound. It has a tone to it that's really cool. But it's still just an EQ, so nothing crazy, but we got a lot of knobs here. Now, this is one of my favorite things right off the bat. This is Brit Bundle. Now, this has a few plugins in it. This is a channel strip here. So again, it's like a preamp. It has a preamp built into it, but then it also has an EQ built into it. So you could have this, if you were recording, where you would be adding a little bit of tone straight into your sound through this plugin. You could use that inside GarageBand before you actually start mixing to shape your sound a little bit before you start mixing. Just get it to sound a little bit closer to how you want it to. Similar thing, but just in a stripped back preamp model. And this is a really awesome compressor that would be great on individual sources or on your master track. It just has a lot of tone to it, a lot of character to it. And it has some visual indicators here that we don't get built inside GarageBand. So we got that again. We have a cabinet simulator. This is a guitar amp cabinet simulator, pretty cool. This is awesome. The fact that this is in here, this is an Ssl style bus compressor, which would be like your master track. This is maybe the most famous compressor for a master track, for all your tracks to run through, to just have that glue that kind of makes everything feel more cohesive. This is maybe the most famous version of that. And this one is awesome. This is beating out really expensive plugins all over the place. People love this compressor. Again, you can download this and have it inside GarageBand completely free. Now, as you can see, 62 posts. Some of these are repeats because as he updates, sometimes he posts again, but he has a lot of plugins in here. So if we just kind of jump down here, all the way down, he's got 500 series rack. So this is like a bunch of different plugins built into one. If you saw my Shep's Omni channel, this is kind of similar to that. He's got the tube pre again. Again, some of these have been reposted. So much incredible stuff. This is an LA 2A style compressor. This thing's awesome on bass, awesome on vocals. Really, really great sound. So completely free, right? You can go download these completely free. Again, don't go download all of them. What I want to ask you to do today is to go look at this, do a little bit of research, see if there's any of these that speak to you, that you want to know more about, that you're curious about, and let me know in the comments below. And I'll do a future video on ones that I see a lot of people posting on. This is something that I know is going to help you. So I already have a couple videos planned out to help you get the most out of this. But first, I just want to tell you about it because this is a lot of information for me to take in. The fact that there are maybe 60-ish plugins completely free that you can use inside GarageBand that add a bit of analog character and tone to your mix. Awesome. But at the end of the day, a well-set EQ, a well-set compressor is going to sound better than a poorly set analog style EQ or compressor nearly every time. That's just the fact of the matter. Knowing how to use your gear is going to help you more than just getting nicer gear. So if you don't already understand the basics of EQ, the basics of compression, one, as I introduce these, I'm going to be talking through those things as well. So keep watching the videos, because even if you're just starting out, when I talk about compressors, vintage compressors, analog compressors, I'll be explaining the concepts of how to use them so you can start using them. But two, don't just look for plugins to fix your mix. You have to fix your mix. If you're looking for an external way to fix your mix, you're never going to find it. You're always going to be disappointed. You're going to spend a lot of time. You're going to waste a lot of time. You have to make a great mix, and you can do it. But you need to have a plan, and you need to have a process that you follow if you want to make a great mix, not just once, but every time that you go to mix. And it's a huge step in creating professional sounding music. So I want to give you something to help with that. I put together my 6-step checklist to a pro mix. And a lot of these tools, almost all of these tools, fall in to those 6 steps. So this is nothing new. This is just something that's going to help you with those 6 steps. I put together this 6-step checklist to a pro mix in GarageBand. It's completely free and follows the 6 steps that all professional mixes have in them. Grab it from the link in the description below. Before we go, as I said, I want to hear from you this week. What plugins do you want me to talk about on this channel? Let me know in the comments below. If I see some trends, I'll definitely do videos on them. If this video is helpful, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another video.